What the papers say. This one is an absolute banger. There's a whole lot going on. So we're going to start with all the chords, the intro, the verse, and the chorus. The chorus and the intro are the same. Then we're going to do a harmony analysis, and then we're going to break down all the lead stuff. And I'm probably going to throw in a little bit of stuff just for those of you who might want to do this on acoustic. So for the video, I've got my awesome Paduk, or Paduk, however you say it, N4, 2009, and my Baby Boss Katana here. I have a whole wall of amps behind me that you can't see, but getting the 5150 or any of that, my orange or any of that other stuff out for these videos is kind of stupid. I'm just going to run the Baby Boss, the Baby Katana, right into the camera mic. Makes it nice and easy. Pretty decent sound. So that should work for us. There's no reason to overly complicate these things. Okay, let's fire this thing up. This is an insane song. Hang on, it's a banger. Let's go. All right. A lot of key changes in this one. We start in A minor. So the intro and the chorus are in A minor. The chorus does change keys at the second part. So the part of the chorus is in A minor. So this intro, the chords are A5, right? So you take an A power chord and add the E and the A right up there. So you've just got a sequence of E and A's. You have an A, an E, an A, an E, and an A going down. Sounds like this. Then you have a straight G chord. I would suggest keep the third out of it here. On electric, they can get kind of muddy if you have the thirds in there. And then an E minor. So what he's doing is kind of so what I've done is I've adapted the keyboard kind of sound, and it's because what's happening here is a lot of it's played on keyboard, and there is a guitar in there, you can hear it. So I've tried to amalgamate everything into something that you could play if you're doing this in just a band as a three-piece. If you have a keyboard player, that's awesome, it sounds more authentic. But if you want to just do this in your rock trio or whatever, this is what I would suggest. So we just down on the A, and then upstrokes. And then I'm throwing in a little now if you're doing this with a bass player, you probably don't need to do this, because what's happening in the bass is this. You get the I screwed up a little bit there, but that's the idea. The bass is just going down, up on the A. So that's what the bass is doing. So I'm trying to incorporate a little bit of that bass in here. Probably not necessary because I'm doing this on solo electric. So if you want to if you have a bass player, just do this. Alright, so that's our intro. Alright, now here's where the madness starts. The verse has 25 chords. It has 1, 2, 3, 4 key changes, I would say. Again, harmony analysis is subjective, but that's what I would say. So let's check this out. I'm going to play through it, the whole verse, okay, and then we're going to break it into two sections, and there's a clear kind of break point that you'll see. Watch out for the B flat chord, right? That'll be sort of our separation in here. Let's get into this verse. We'll rewind the track a bit here, and let's see what we can see. All right, 25 chords. So they're on the screen, of course, you can see them. So let's go through those then. So we start off out of the chorus. To an F sharp minor. You don't have to play the full chord, just the power chord part. Then a C sharp minor or C sharp minor 7, either one will work. It sounds like a 7 in there. Okay, C sharp minor 7 to a G, a D, and then an A with a C sharp bass. A over C sharp. Now, if you have a bass player, the guitar can just do an A chord there, and let the bass play the C sharp note. We'll come back to that in a moment. After the A over C sharp, B minor again to just play the power chord there. Back to a G, D over F sharp, and then an E over G sharp. Or sorry, yeah, E over G sharp. Sorry, yep. Right. We'll come back to that in a minute. A B minor. Another G, a C, and then an F. And we're gonna stop right there because that's a good part before the key change. Actually, the key has already changed there slightly, but this is a good initial section. Okay, so some comments about what we can do here and what's happening. So F sharp minor, C sharp minor 7, G, D, A over C sharp, B minor, G, D over F sharp. Now, this is the first real comment I have for you. When you do that G, make the D over F sharp with these fingers, leave this one free, because then you can easily slide up to the E over G sharp chord. All right? So you'd have something like, I'm leaving the distortion off so you can see I'm not cheating. All right, so that's a good thing to practice. The G down to the D over F sharp, up to the E over G. So that's it so far. So then after the G to C to F, we go to a B flat, and he holds that chord for a lot longer than anything else in the verse. And then we come up to an A flat, and then up to a B flat here. Now, why am I doing it like that? Why am I not going B flat, A flat, B flat? Because the chord that comes after the second B flat, which is on the screen, you can see it, is an F over A chord, which is played here. So we've already had the D sharp, or the F sharp over D, the D over F sharp, the E over G sharp. Now we have an F over A. So this chord is popping up again and again in this tune. So what we get is we get the B flat, A flat, B flat, F over A. Then we go down to a C minor, back to the A flat, then down. There's that chord again, but this time it's an E flat over G, and then up a step to F over A, then back to a C minor. Now we have a walk up on in the C minor scale here, C minor, to a B flat with a D bass, E flat, and then we end on a C over E. There is another way that we can do this, and I'll share with you, and it really depends on what you're doing and how you're going to perform this. If you're sitting in your bedroom playing it, the way I just showed you is probably just fine. If you're looking for a bit more articulation of the chords, what I would suggest you do is the following. Okay, now stay with me here, all right? So let's just, let's pick this up with the C minor, the first C minor chord, to A flat, E flat over G, F over A, back to the C minor, okay? Now that C minor there is where we're going to stop and say, let's move that C minor up to this C minor here. Because what we're going to do is we're going to attack the C minor, B flat, D, E flat, C over E here in this part of the neck rather than down here. Now, so we'll come out then of that first C minor, A flat, E flat over G, F over A, C minor, B flat over D here. It's that same chord shape again, to E flat here, to C over E right there. So you get an alternating sequence of minor, first inversion chord, power chord, first inversion chord. So just a power chord, first inversion, power chord, first inversion. So that's my preferred way of doing this. All right, I think it sounds a lot better. And then you have to come all the way back down here for the chorus, but that's, you know, you can do that quickly. On the acoustic, let's just grab that really quick. Let me unplug this thing. Sorry about the noise, guys. There we go. All right, so on the acoustic, if we look at those chords here again, sounds really good on the acoustic. So let's just for those of you who do have an interest in this, let's go through some comments on the acoustic. Really not a whole lot different in terms of what I would recommend here. On the intro, you can do the almost got through it without fucking it up. So you can I'm too lazy to do another take on that. So you can really get in on the acoustic. That second part of the verse where we come in on the B flat to the A flat. You know, the nice thing about the acoustic is you can hear the major tonality there, because on the electric you're really playing more bar chord type stuff. Then back up to another B flat, then F over A, C minor, A flat, E flat, A flat, or sorry, E flat over G, F over A, then and back to our chorus, which we'll talk about in a moment. So this song is completely doable on acoustic. Just skip the solo, right? Unless you've got, you can, the solo, you need a Floyd Rose to do the solo. So we'll just say the acoustic version is sans solo, all right? So that's some thoughts on the acoustic. Now let's get back to the electric and talk about the rest of this chord structure here. Talk about the chorus. So let me get situated. I'm like Bill O'Reilly. We're doing it live.
Okay. We'll do it live.
Okay. Well, no.
We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
So let's listen to the full chorus now and see how we get along. All right, super simple, all right? So we've got the same chords as the intro, the or. All right, the second half is when the vocal goes up a bit. We go to an F, to a G, to a B flat, F, E string's a bit sharp, hold on. There we go. So that's it. F, G, B flat, F, G, back to the verse. So you've got another one of those wonderful walk up the bass line back to where you want to go. Nick does it all the time. That's pretty common in all songwriting, really. So the verse is super, super easy. So you've now got, guys, okay, you've got the info you need to play the whole song except for the solo. You got on the acoustic, let me once again make this switch. For that chorus. That's how I would do it there. You have more flexibility on the acoustic in terms of the voicings, because on the electric, that'd sound pretty muddy, right? So that's what I would do on the acoustic for the chorus. All right, so we're going to check out the first fill, which happens around the 1 minute 5 second mark. All right, so real simple, tabs up on the screen. Sounds like you listen to Eddie Van Halen with that little whammy bar trick. So we're just gonna go, yeah, sticking in A minor. And on that A note there. So you're gonna have to hit it, dip it, pull off, and then dip the G note, right? All right, guys, main solo. Right, so we're just in A minor here because it's played over the chorus part. So we come in on an A note and then an E underneath it, 17th fret on the bottom two strings here, or top two, whichever way you want to look at it. And you can hear, you get that kind of that out of phase sound a little bit. You hear he did that on the recording. And then we just, after that, and just slide into a D and back to a B. And you kind of choke the note off. So we're targeting E at the end. So after that, it's basically just kind of like an E minor pentatonic lick. Slide up, choke it off, then... I mean, who hasn't done that 8,000 times? And when you hit that G, you do a little pull up on the bar, like a quarter note maybe. And then end on that, on that E. Tab's on the screen, so I just want to point out that you do 2 pull-ups on the bar. There. And then on that C, just like that. All right, let's check out that last fill right at the end of the tune. So there we start out with a straight up A minor. That's all on the screen. And then you come to this E, this G here. You have to kind of hold it. So he's kind of accenting the G and the C here. So that last little part there, after this, is kind of, it's almost like E minor. So what you're doing here is you're coming off that C, and you're just doing just bend in a half step on the A. So what's kind of weird and tricky about that last lick is you do this. So when you come to that C there, you hit it once and then hit it again, and then bend up. You could also do this. For me, it's just easier to go down to that E and end it. So kind of slowly all together. All right, let's break down this solo. So let's listen to that first lick. Here we go. Okay, so we're playing over F sharp minor and C sharp minor. So we're in the key of F sharp minor. So we're starting on an F sharp minor. It's all diatonic in the key of F sharp minor. You can see the tab on the screen. So we're just sticking in F sharp minor here. I'm not going to slow this down and show you every note. It's all on the screen. It's real simple for this part. And then we end that part on a C sharp. So that's the 5 of F sharp. So we're sticking totally in F sharp minor. All right, let's check out the next part of the solo here. So let's fire that up. Okay, nice. So that's going to be over the G, D, A over C sharp, and we'll bring in the B minor there. So here, that's what it's doing there. So we're starting off up here on a B, which is the 3rd of the G note. And so string skipping in there. So we slide up to the B, down to the G, up to the A, then we string skip up to this G here. And there's a little alternating on between those 2 strings. That's the tricky part there. You can see it all in the tab. So that's a little tricky. Pretty much stayed in G for over that lick, and then we move into B minor, transition into B minor then. So then what happens is we have that big slide where we're sliding up to the C sharp, and you have that nice B there over the, I think it's over the B minor chord. And then the next part has some cool whammy stuff. Let's listen to that. So what he does here is, so you want to hold the bar. So like this kind of guitar, right? I can adjust the bar and make it swing, you know, or I can tighten it up. And that's what you probably want to do if you have this type of whammy. Most of my guitars are Ibanez Floyds with the pop-in bars. Those are okay at staying in place. You can adjust them. But on this type, you want to keep it here so you can pick and hold the bar at the same time. So that's going to take some practice. Right, and that leads us up to that big bend there. So this is all tabbed out for you. So after that lick, you have to slide up here and bend a full step up on your 22nd fret and get that whammy to do the vibrato, right? Like that. Now another thing to mention about this solo is that this is not a played through solo. This is a comped solo. It's a composite solo. You can hear how he's taken bits and pieces of stuff and stitched it all together into a solo. The position changes are completely out of left field here. You can actually hear it. I can hear it at least, and I might be wrong, but I really doubt it. And if I ever get a chance to talk to Nick, God help me, I'd ask him about this solo specifically. But I would bet you $1 to a donut that this is a composite or a comped solo, right? I mean, Eddie Van Halen did it all the time. There's no shame in that. I mean, you're just making music, and however you have to do it, you have to do it. So this is not an easy solo to pull off, right? Because of these weird position changes. So that's what's going on there. So out of that big bend on E, we come back to a G chord. Now this is, when I was figuring out this solo, this next lick was really a tough one because it's so weird. And this is what really convinced me that this was a comp solo. So out of that, whoops, you hear a lick that sounds like this. So we're starting on a D and we're going down the G major scale. It's a weird one. Listen. You hear that little in there? Play it one more time. All right, now listen to it slowed down. All right, I'm going to slow that down to 60% here. 62% slowed down. Now let's listen to that again. You hear that? It's weird sounding, right? Right here. So weird. And almost, I would say, if I was like doing this live in a group or something, I'd take that lick out. Because it's such a pain in the ass to come from that and then, right? Because the next lick we have to come back up here again. So that's what's going on over the G there. So after that lick, right, and then let's put this back up to full speed, we have a really nice melodic, almost Eric Johnson sound here. Let's listen to that. That's really nice. So that little part there is played over C, F, and B flat. So really nice here. He's just playing triads. So So the last part's not a triad, but it sticks in the key. So the first two parts, you start on the note C, and you're just playing a C triad, C, G, E. That's why it sounds so melodic. And the second one is an F triad. C, A, F, right? So you have C, G, E, which is a C major triad, C, A, F, which is an F major triad, and then you come back to the C and you go up to the D and then back to the B flat. So that lands us then on that long B flat note. Right, so now we're moving into the B flat section. Let's listen to what happens, and I'll explain what he's doing. All right, really melodic here. Everything's following the chords. So B flat to A flat, and then back to B flat. So he comes out of that with that, as we said, that long B flat, down to A flat, and then back to the B flat. And right there, what's happening is he's B flat, A flat, B flat. Those are directly over the chords. B flat, A flat, B flat. The next chord is a C minor. The next chord is an A flat, followed by E flat over G, and F over A. So the first three chords, the B flat to A flat to B flat, you have this. And then over the C minor, you get F, A to B flat, right? And then the chord after that, C minor to A flat, so that's played over the C minor to A flat, and then we come down to this. That's where it ends. So there, you're going back and forth between a G and an A flat, and that comes when the C minor goes to the A flat, and that follows with that E over G there, E flat over G. So you're getting that C minor, A flat, E flat. So it's all following that key there. And the last note's an A because it ends on the F flat over A chord. So that's where it's all coming from. Now he's doing a little bit more whammy stuff when you get to this. You can hear he's doing some more of that whammy stuff in there. So, you know, it's kind of haphazard breaking these things down, but that's what's going on here. It's all following the chords.
All right, let's break down the harmony. But before we do, let's say a big shout out to friend of the channel, the great and powerful Jonas Wolf. I reached out to him with my analysis of the song, and he came back with some additional ideas that were super great and really help out. So, danke, Herr Wolf. And guys, please, please, please check out his channel. He was a All right, so let's get into this analysis here. The intro, that is straight up A minor. We have you know, 1 chord, 5 chord, major 2 there, so straight up A minor. Now the verse, of course, this is wacky, right? So let's start by looking at this first block right here. isolated it right there. So those chords are all somehow related to F sharp minor. We're in an F sharp minor tonality to kick off the song. So the first two chords here, these are definitely straight up F natural minor, the standard F sharp minor, straight up, you know, completely perfect. It's a 1 and a 5 chord. So we call that the Aeolian mode. The sixth mode of the major scale is the natural minor. So that's related to A major. They're parallel keys, so it has 3 sharps. That's the key signature there. But we can see in the scale we don't have a G sharp, but here we have a G. So you have to ask yourself, what F sharp scale or mode has a G major chord? And in modal harmony, a minor chord followed by a major chord immediately, that is a straight up indicator that it's almost always Phrygian. So we can say that the G chord is borrowed from the F sharp Phrygian mode, which is the second mode of the D major scale. You can see these notes here, these are all straight up D major here. So this is an example of what we call modal mixture or modal interchange. There's a lot of good videos on YouTube about this. I'll link one in the description. I've also included this. If you watch my Wounded Knee video, for example, I talk a lot about this. Jonas talks about this in his videos. So this is an example of what we would call modal mixture. Now, another way we could analyze this is we could group, let's hold off on that. Let's just continue and talk about this group here beginning in B minor going up to the G. We could stop the analysis of this part actually at the B minor. I've included the G here. We'll talk about that in just a second. So we have another group here. So we have a key change at this point to B minor here. And again, we've got an example of modal mixture because one of these chords does not fit the scale of B minor. So here we can see the actual B minor scale. That's the B Aeolian mode. And maybe I should learn how to spell, which is the sixth mode of the D major scale, right? The B minor and D major are parallel keys. So we can see, looking at this, we have an outlier here, the E chord. Now this is indicated as E over G sharp. G sharp is the third of E major, so that's just a straight up E major chord. And you can see in B minor, we have a minor 5, which is E minor. So again, we can think about our knowledge of scales and modes, and we can see that the B melodic minor scale here has a G sharp as its 6th scale degree. So you could say that that is a borrowed chord from B melodic minor. You could also say this is a chord borrowed from B major, because B major does have a major 5 chord. So it's often common to borrow chords from your parallel major key. So I'm kind of neutral about this one. I would say that this is either a borrowed chord from B melodic minor or from B major, either way. But there is another thing that we could do here, and we could take these chords here and add them here. And I wouldn't get mad at you if you said this whole passage here was B minor. When we hear that G chord, we definitely hear something happen in the tonality. And all of this, with the exception of that E chord, are diatonic to our B natural minor scale. So you could look at this a couple of ways. Guys, analysis of music is not always subjective, but it can sometimes be subjective. Now, the next thing here is that we could take this G and group it with the next chunk that we want to talk about. So that would be specifically these 3 chords here. So if we just do a little impromptu addition to this page here, what key can you think of where you have 3 major chords, C, F, or G, C, and F? Well, that is C major, right? So what you could say here is if we come back up here, we look at that G chord, right, at the end of that passage in B minor, we could say that G chord is the 5 chord of the C, and then the F is acting as the 4 chord of the C, right? We could analyze it that way. But another way of doing it is including the G major in the B minor analysis, and then looking at the subsequent chords here all together as part of a B flat major sequence. Now, my thought on this is what I would probably do, like if you held a gun to my head, is I would take those out and just leave it like this, and just look at this part as C major. Yeah, again, you can go either way on that. So I'm not going to get mad at you if you want to say, starting on this C chord, we're now in the scale of B flat. But again, I would be more likely actually to have just the F chord here as part of the B flat, because F is a strong, it's the dominant chord of B flat major. So again, guys, subjective. But anyway, so now we definitely change keys when we reach this section here. We can see all of these chords are diatonic to B major or B Ionian, with the exception of this A flat chord. You can see in the key of B flat, which has 2 flats, that's the key signature. We only have one, we have an A natural in there. But B flat mixolydian, we have a flat 7. That's the B flat mixolydian is the 5th mode of the E flat major scale. And we have an A flat in there. So we're definitely in a modal mixture here. We're mixing between major and mixolydian. But then as we continue, right, through this section here, this B flat, we come to this section right here. And I'm going to stop it right there. That could, you could call that also B flat. Those chords, they all pretty much fit. However, the tonality and just the harmony there, we could also call it C minor. So the choice would be just, call this whole big chunk here B flat modal mixture, or separate it here and pull this out as C minor. So if we do that, if we pull this out as C minor, this section here, we can see that we're in a very similar situation as we were with the B minor section. There is one outlying chord here. So what would that be? Well, if we look at the C natural minor scale, which is the 6th mode of the E flat major scale, we can see, and that's a 3 flat chord signature or a key signature. We have 3 flats in here. One of those is A flat right there. So there's no, right there, we have an outlying chord, that F chord, right? F over A is the 3rd of F. So that is an outlier. So again, and this was Jonas's thought, this is where I got this idea for the melodic minor, is that, or he gave me the idea for the melodic minor, is that you could pull that A note there from the melodic minor scale. Now, again, a thought that I have here is that this could simply be borrowed from C major, because F is the 4th, is the 4th degree of the C major scale. So we could call that again a modal mixture of major and minor, or just an interchange of scales here of, because melodic minor is not a mode, right? It's a completely unique harmony. So we could just call that like a nice mixture of scales. So that's pretty cool. Looking at the chorus, before we go to the chorus, we have this last little chord here hanging out at the end, C over E. I think that needs to be looked at kind of in its own deal. What we need to do is look at these 4 chords and the chorus all together, specifically with that first chord in the chorus. Now look what happens in the bass line here. Okay, C to D to E flat to E. So we're just walking up here and then down to A minor. Well, we have a dominant move here in the bass, E to A minor. This is a 5-1 resolution. E is the 5 of A. So this chord, C over E, I would say is just a sort of stands on its own, and it's used as a harmonic device to get us from C minor to A minor, right? Because the 5 in the bass there brings us nicely to A minor. So the chorus, this one's, let's see, we know that's A minor. And you definitely notice there's a key change here when you go to this part of the song, or this part of the chorus. This is pretty interesting. I mean, you've got F here with, F right there with a B flat, so that's a 1-4. Now the G in the scale of F major, you have an F, it goes F, G, so G would be a G minor here, and here we have a major. You could look at that as a secondary dominant of of C, could be how you look at that. Because we're not playing a third in that chord, another thing I thought of is that the third is, I don't really hear a third in that chord. Maybe the bass is playing one, but I haven't listened that closely. You could call it a G5, and from that perspective, if it was a G5, it could be looked at as still a minor, but there's just no third in it, right? It would fit diatonically in the key of F. If it was a G minor chord, that would fit nicely with B flat, and you could say then B flat would be our key here. But it's definitely in the tonality here is definitely around kind of, it's hard to say, to be honest with you, because you've got that A minor here, and the G is, the G is pretty strong in this sequence. So another way you could look at this then is you could just look at this whole damn thing as A minor with this B flat in there as our outlier chord. And that would be, again, borrowed from the Phrygian mode, because it's a half a degree away, semitone away from A minor. So you could just call this whole chorus A minor with, this outlier right there. None of this stuff matters, guys, but, I'm trying to make these videos as informative as possible. So that's the harmony. If you have other ideas, let me know. I'm a musical moron. I'm totally self-taught. I have no idea what I'm doing.